class and open burning too. We have open air market grounds, and that the waste is managed through open burning. In Kaid sub-location, sub-county, we have Nungune. And Nungune is said to have open grounds where open burning is done. Mukuyune, open air market grounds where open burning is also done. Kilala and Itangine, open air market grounds where open burning is also done. We have Bowani sub-count, which has the following areas of dumping. Kikima, there is a dump site where open air market in an open air market grounds, and the land filling and the open burning is done. Kalawani, we have also open air market grounds. Land filling is usually used for waste management. Tawa, we have open air market grounds where open burning is done. Bumbuni, open air market grounds, open burning done. Kalawa, open air market grounds and open burning done. In Kilome sub-count, we have the following areas. Malili, we have an open air market grounds where dumping is done and then open burning is used as a way of management of the waste. Sultana Hamud, we have also open air market grounds and open burning. Salama, open air market grounds and open burning, and then Cascale, open air market grounds and open burning. Question 4. The plans the department has in place to construct dumping sites in the major towns and the markets in the county, giving clear timelines when such plans will be finalized. The department is negotiating with the county treasury for allocation of funds at the headquarters to facilitate development of the above dump sites to the required minimum conditions and the standards. There are plans to request community to allocate funds during the county budget process for purchase of land for Salama, Cascale, Sultan Ahmud, Malili, Kalawa, Bumbuni, Tawa, Kilala, Kalawani, Kambu, Machinery, Masumba, Kitize, Kadonzweni, major markets. Kadonzweni major markets dump sites. The department has also developed a Makueni County Integrated Solid Waste Management Bill that is at cabinet level. And once it is approved as an act by the county assembly, it shall aid in adoption of material recovery facilities that will considerably reduce the amounts of waste finding their way to the sanitary landfills. In this regard, the department is committed to implement the county assembly recommendations. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee hereby presents the response to the statement regarding solid waste management in the county to the county assembly for consideration. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable members, comments? Was that response was circulated? Members, did you get copies? Members, did you get copies? Clerk, was it circulated as I had directed? Was the paper circulated? Now what do? I directed that the paper be circulated to the members of the county assembly so that they can peruse and give feedback on the things that have been said. Nearly every word has been mentioned. Yes. The paper was not circulated by tab office. That's you have pen and many papers to write everything. How do you forget such a thing? That statement is deferred tomorrow at 2:30. Members who wish to comment on it?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to make some comments on that statement. Mr. Speaker, I've had so many damming sites, and the question many of members will be asking, are those damming sites, have they been gazetted? For members of public to know that that is a damming site. Are members of public aware? And those damming sites. And when will we move from this open air burning of garbages to another new technologies, because, Mr. Speaker, it is not environmentally friendly because of the emissions of the gases, and you find that they are not separating the solid. They are burning even the plastics in those burning sites. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My concern is I've heard the chair mention an location meant for a dump site in Tangine market, 4.2 million. That 4.2 million is not money meant for a dump site. It's money meant for a modern market. And actually, a compulsory acquisition has already been initiated to acquire that land. So I think that is not correct. That 4.2 million is meant for construction of modern market. Thank you.
Honorable members, I wish you make those comments tomorrow. But nevertheless, member from Lale Mali.
Honorable Speaker, it has been mentioned that dumping site was to be purchased in Mali at a cost of 1.6 million. Truly, it was bought, but it is not being utilized currently because of its central location. It is located centrally to the town, such that we might not use it. Actually, the public had made a request formally to repurpose that piece of land and have another one purchased for the same purposes. Maybe the committee will have to traverse across the county in all those mentioned areas to confirm whether truly there is that land, its sizes, so that at least they can report land in terms of sizes. Two, to see whether there are ownership documents, whether the land is truly owned by the county government, and what sort of document do the county has it pertains to those pieces of land. And three, conduct another public participation across those facilities to establish whether they are viable, and like that one in a Mali town, which has been requested for repurposing. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The very reason why I had requested that members will get copies so that I can, from a point of information and knowledge, contribute to it and give your suggestions and proposals. So if you get then that copy, may you make your observations and proposals, which will inform the committee to make recommendations. Yes, where there is under budgeting, there is need to budget for it. Because if you have less money, then it means the money like Matiliku is not sufficient, so you require more money. Come supplementary budget of the next financial year, you don't budget for it, as people are dumping refuse at the middle of town in this area. So Chairperson, take note of that, and clerk. Chairperson, Committee on Water and Sanitation to respond to statement regarding construction of decentralized treatment facility for water. The town is requested by Honorable Matters.
Honorable Speaker, we got the response and invited the request of the statement yesterday. After going through the response, we identified gaps, and we agreed anonymously. We write back to the ECM yesterday so that it can give us the answers to those gaps. And the request of the statement is aware, so we request for extension.
Time is the executive
Monday.
committee member required to provide that information?
We give them 7 days, as usual, because once we write to them, we usually give them a week to respond.
But I thought you've agreed on what is to be done.
No, you see, when we agreed that it was not satisfactory because of the gaps identified between the request of the statement and the committee, the only person who could give us the answers to the gaps was the ECM. So the clerk wrote to the ECM.
So the ECM was not invited?
You know, by that time we had not invited the ECM because we invited first the request of the statement to look at the response.
Okay, fine. So you'll go at 7 more days?
Yes, definitely by Monday we should be ready.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Next order.
Order number 8, motion. The report of the County Public and Accounts Committee on consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the County Executive Makueni for the years ended 30th June 2022.
What is your point of order?
I think by last week I had requested for a statement concerning Mwangin Sam Tank. And the report was to be brought today. And I've not heard the chair comment on that.
Clerk, if it was to be presented today, why is it not in the order paper? Before then, I want to know why it is not in the order paper. It was in the morning. It was in the morning.
It was in the order paper. And Mr. Speaker, sir, I think this is attendance, we need to deal with it. That when one knows that there's a business which is coming and is concerned, people should be avail themselves, because it's also becoming a bit of waste of time when it's put in the order paper and the member is nowhere to be seen. We looked for him in the morning, was not there.
So fair enough. Member Fogaskill, how do we help you? You knew that you have a business. Were you notified that the business coming up? Did you not see it in the order paper that was circulated?
And that particular member was not even here. I did not even converse with him. So how comes that he's saying that I was very much aware?
It's unfortunate. The member is economical with the truth. He came late after the portion of the statements was already covered. Now, we could not revert back to go and start the order paper again. The continuation of the business had to go on. So let him not be economical with the truth. But to stand with the truth.
Fair enough. Honorable Bunge, you were late for the statement. You knew you had a statement. It is not within our interest and our responsibility to babysit members to execute their statements. How do we help you? Matter is overtaken. You'll have now to go and deal with it on your own. And you know that this assembly is important for you to execute your business. You know, members, if you feel that this house is the best place to resolve your issues on request for statement, you will find time and be here. If you don't find time, we will assume that you have resolved your issues in other ways that are suitable to you. So how do we help you, Member Fogaskill?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. But anyway, to the best of my knowledge, I think I was here in the morning. And even if I was late, that honorable member from Elima should know that that something is even touching his area. We have people from his area.
It doesn't matter whether it is touching his area or not. The member is saying, by the time you came in, the order, which is statement, had been dispensed. So we cannot conduct business in favor of Elima and Kaskil. It's not our interest. Order, member. Order. On what basis are you speaking? Now, member for Elima. So you're saying you are ready in the morning and the member was absent? Yes. So suppose, since you are ready, suppose I ask the clerk to help you with the response. Is that okay? You will be assisted with your copy.
No. You see, as a chair, I'm also able to organize my diary. And I'm not going to allow anybody to disorganize my diary.
Fair enough. Suppose...
Yes, because at the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, we cannot run this particular... These are house of rules and procedures.
I've heard you. Suppose then we ask you to just table the response and the member will read.
I can share the response with him.
No, you will table.
I don't have the paper now.
It will be brought.
Okay, we can ask for it.
We ask for it, eh?
Yes.
The clerk facilitate that copy for the chair to table.
Let me talk to Lillian.
There is a clerk here, he will
Yes.
do it for you. Chair, we are not asking you to read. We are asking you to lay it. We have asked for it. Clerk, yes, it will help him. Clerk, can you find out from the respective committee clerk so that he can provide that response now? Just find out. Yes, member for Birini Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is a reason why a order paper is shared before we come here. So that if member has any business in this house, is ready and prepared to engage in that business. Mr. Speaker, in the morning that statement, the chair was ready. And Mr. Speaker, I want to say it in this house. Honorable member is my neighbor from where I come from. And it is honorable member from Masonga Lane who has just called him to come to this session when we had lacked quorum, Mr. Speaker. If it was to go by the time we were here, he could find us when we are reading motions, Mr. Speaker. So we need to be very orderly, Mr. Speaker. And we need to take business of this house very serious, Mr. Speaker.
Leader of the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Zai Kavai is a ranking member, and I believe he has heard from the other members, and I believe he's also very apologetic. I can see the way he's holding his head on his hand. And Honorable Speaker, for the benefit of the people of Cascale, because he needs to interrogate that report, he needs at least to interact with that report, and for the benefit of the people of Cascale, I request that we don't just table the report, Honorable Speaker, we get time to interrogate that report so that the people and the reasons why the Honorable Member requested for that report can be addressed. Honorable Speaker, kindly, thank you.
So what happens now that I had given direction and ruling on the matter? The matter is just
Honorable Speaker, standing order number 1 applies. You are still the Speaker. You can retract and retrace your orders. Thank you.
Fair. I hear you. What we'll do then, the paper will be late. It will be committed to the member. The member will peruse. If there is anything that you require, is when we'll pick it up. So we'll have the paper late first. May we make progress?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I wanted to inform the leader of the majority party that standing order 1 only provides for where it is not expressly provided. And in case you have ruled, of course it is already provided. So you shouldn't use that to mislead this assembly. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you for that information.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand informed by a ranking member who is also a member of the Speaker's panel. Fortunately, he benefited from some training, which of course I didn't attend. Thank you.
Chairperson of the Public Accounts and Investment Committee. Public Accounts and Investment Committee.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the following motion that this assembly adopt the report of the County Public Accounts Committee on consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the County Executive of Makueni for the year ended 30th June 2022, laid on the table of the Assembly on 23rd September 2024. And for members should know that the report had a qualified opinion. And Mr. Speaker, I urge members to go through the report, and I request I go straight to committee's general observations and findings that is carrying almost everything in the report. And number 1, the committee made the following observations. Number 1, the management failed to provide the count on generated revenue schedules of 369 186,633 shillings to the auditors at the time of audit, thus contravening regulations 100 of the Public Finance Management, County Government Regulations. 2015 provides that accounting officers shall keep in all offices concerned with receiving cash or making payments a cash book showing the receipts and the payments, and shall maintain such other books and registers as may be necessary for the proper maintenance and the production of the accounts of the vote for which he or she is responsible. 2, receipts and payments were made outside the reporting year or period contrary to Regulation 97, subsection 1 of the Public Finance Management, County Government Regulation 2015, which provides that the accounts of the county government entities shall record transactions which take place during a financial year running from the 1st July to 31st June. 3, budget underfunding was as a result of under-collections of on-source revenue and appropriation in aid for hospital expenses spent at source. Measures had been put in place to address issues of the budget underfunding. 4, under expenditure on the budget was due to delayed exchequer releases from the National Treasury. 5, to ensure compliance with Regulation 41, subsection 2 of the Public Finance Management, County Government Regulation 2015, which provides that debt service payment shall be first charged on the county revenue fund, and the accounting officer shall ensure this is done to extent possible that the county government does not default on debt obligations. The county government entered into an agreement with LAF Fund and has so far made 2 installments. 6, during the period under review, the management did not submit the monthly financial and non-financial budget report to the Office of the Auditor General, contrary to Regulation 54 of the Public Finance Management, County Government Regulations 2015, which requires that an accounting officer shall not later than the 10th day of the month submit a monthly financial and non-financial budget report in the format to be issued by the Cabinet Secretary relating to the activities of his or her county government entity for the preceding month to the county treasury with copy of budget and on the last quarter of the financial year, thus contravening Regulation 81, subsection 2 of the Public Finance Management, County Government Regulations 2015. 8, the wage bill for the year under review E of the County Government Act 2012, which states that in selecting candidates for appointment, the County Public Service Board shall consider the need to ensure that at least 30% of the vacant posts at entry level are not filled from the dominant ethnic community in the county. Mr. Speaker, Committee General Recommendations. 1, the accounting officer shall strictly adhere to Regulation 100 of the Public Finance Management, County Government Regulation 2015 by providing supporting ledgers for audit as required. 2, the accounting officer should ensure compliance with Regulation 97, subsection 1 of the Public Finance Management, County Government Regulation 2015 by keeping all transactions which take place during financial year running from 1st July to 30th June. 3, management should fully implement the strategies highlighted to attain the target of on-source revenue. 4, the Council of Governors should liaise with the National Treasury for timely release of funds from the Exchequer. Further, the Senate should compel the National Treasury to implement the schedule approved for Exchequer releases. 5, the accounting officer should strictly adhere to Regulation 41, subsection 2 of the Public Finance Management, County Government Regulation 2015, which provides that debt servicing payment shall be first charged on the county revenue fund, and accounting officer shall ensure this is done to extent possible that the county government does not default on debt obligations. 6, the committee recommends that in line with Section 62 of the Public Audit Act 2015 as read together with Section 199 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, the management should institute disciplinary measures to the officers who fail to submit the monthly financial and non-financial budget report to the Office of the Auditor General as provided for Regulation 54 of the Public Finance Management Government Regulation 2015. 8. Going forward, the accounting officer should strictly adhere to Regulation 81, subsection 2 of the Public Finance Management Government Regulation 2015. 9. The management should fully implement the strategies put in place to curb the wage bill to the 35% threshold as provided under Regulation 25, subsection 1B of the Public Finance Management Government Regulation 2015, and provide quarterly report to the committee. And 10, the committee recommends that the accounting officer should enforce adherence to Section 65, subsection 1E of the Government Act 2012 and Section 7, subsection 2 of the National Question and Integration Act 2008 in subsequent recruitments by ensuring that at least 30% of the vacant posts are, or at entry level, are not filled from the dominant ethnic community in the county. So, Speaker, I take this opportunity to call upon Honorable Cosmas Kaleli to second the report.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I raise to second the motion, Honorable Speaker. It is true, what has been read all through, although it has taken quite some time, it is a clear indication that that committee is very serious. Honorable Speaker, I have some few comments. One, the report is qualified opinion report. We would have got an unqualified opinion report where hit that the officers, the accounting officers, were keenly about bookkeeping, because what has caused us not to have a unqualified report is, one, delay in responses. It took too much for the accounting officers to a failed document as requested by the Auditor General. Bookkeeping is one of the simple units in accounting. If that accounting officer, as it is stated in recommendation 1, they were serious on provision of document as requested, maybe the opinion could be unqualified. Honorable Speaker, it has been captured that there was underdevelopment due to certain problems. One being under collection of revenue, on source revenue. And the recommendation from the committee is how the department can raise more revenues to ensure that we don't slash some of the projects at the end of the financial year. Actually, we need to seal the loopholes. Yes, last year it was reported 1.something billion, but I came to realize it was only recorded from our hospital facilities, which was not being accounted in the previous years. There was not much difference, actually. Where there was a much difference, we could have a whole project funded. Therefore, the department has been well instructed on the action plan by the committee to ensure that we do our project as appropriated. Some delays are seen or realized when there is late disbursement of resources, as it is now. Because as you understand, there is a current stalemate between the Senate and the Treasury. That's why we urge the COG to facilitate, and whether through dialogue with the Treasury, to ensure that resources are released on timely basis. I don't know what will happen this financial year, because up to date, development money has not been dispensed for 3 months. The delay is still a challenge to the counties. That Council of Governance can help. But I was thinking, although this was outside the committee, whether the speakers, because they deal with the legislation, can help the assemblies come up with a legislation, abiding law, whether we need to, they can spearhead a referendum, so that at least now we can push the treasury to work in line with the constitution by enabling that the counties have resources on timely basis. Or actually whether we can get some, through that legislation, that is not part of the recommendation, but I thought it is wise I speak since our speaker heads the other speakers in their caucus. Honorable Speaker, it has mentioned about the recruitment. It is also good to inform our people that why is it that we are not within the percentages? Nearly 50 to 70% of the county employees were previous employees of the local authorities, the councils. And that's one of the reasons why across the 47 counties, maybe except in Nairobi or in the cities, in the former cities, you will realize there is combination of all tribes within the county of those counties. But in the other counties, there is that challenge of attaining the required percentage merely because they were the local authorities who engage the locals, who might be one or two or a few communities within that county. But the instruction about the new recruitment, we have instructed the department and the public service board to work on that, how effective it will be, because sometimes the handouts are made, but the applicants are still within that region. But the instructions are very clear. Honorable Speaker, I support the report and the recommendation as read by the chair, and maybe we will have to get the implementation within the said 60 days. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, I propose a question that the Assembly adopt the report of the Public Investments Accounts Committee on the consideration of the report of the retired general of the County Executive Makweni for the years ended 30th of June 2002, laid on the table of the Assembly on 23rd of September 2024. The floor is open. Member for Maveline Ward.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow that I support this report. Honorable Speaker, this entity had a qualified opinion, and in my opinion, we may never get any county getting an qualified opinion if some things are not put in place. Looking at the first audit issue, it cross-cuts all the counties, and it makes the basis for the auditor's opinion. You may get all the other issues right, but if you don't get right on the issue of financial, the financial bit, then you can never get an qualified opinion. And yet, we are seeing the very issue that is causing this query coming far beyond the capacity and the ability of the counties. Because as has been alluded, the variance between the financial statement balance and the IFMIS balance was occasioned by a leeway in the IFMIS system whereby Treasury and counties were allowed to pay, to make some payments after the closure of the financial year. And we had a discussion on this, and we did make a recommendation that the Treasury, when these ECMs of Treasury meet in the Council of Governors, in the CBEP, what do you call it? That meeting for the Treasury CSs, they should implore on the National Treasury to either make it written when there is a leeway for payment outside the financial closure of the financial year, the Treasury should write officially, giving that leeway of maybe 2 weeks or so. Because when they just fail to close the IFMIS systems and allow payments, and they don't make a formal communication, but it means when the auditor will come, they will pick those issues and they will raise that query on the same. And we may not get with a trend of money not being enough to eat the accounts of counties before the end of the financial year, and having that leeway when the money comes late, we may never have a county getting an unqualified opinion. So this is something that the Council of Governors should discuss, and the caucus for Treasury ECMs should also discuss with a view of bringing a regularizing on the issue such that to be a little bit more official. And of course, the other issues that we have made recommendations about on the wage bill, it's something that needs to be looked into because it's coming every year, and it is of essence that the county is seen to be making steps towards the right direction. Otherwise, some of the issues that are raised in this report should not have been there if there was keenness on the part of the executive and if there was goodwill. And that is why we keep on employing on them to be a little bit more proactive when engaging auditors when they come knocking. Otherwise, thank you.
Member for Gubuli Southward.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the motion and congratulate the team led by the member for Mavindini and myself also, and the member for Emali from Kibwezi West. Honorable Speaker, thank you to everybody also for the Secretariat for the good reports. Honorable Speaker, when you look at the report, sometimes we fail to understand what Auditor General is saying, because even at Senate, they were asking themselves, a previous report was unqualified, then the next year's report came out to be qualified because of previous matters. So that becomes a big query, and it seems sometimes you will get these opinions based on how the auditor in charge of that station that day woke up. Honorable Speaker, it depends a lot on that, and that's why I want to encourage that unqualified opinion can be achieved, because we have done that in 2018, and also Nyandarua did that. It is historical for this country, Honorable Speaker, and as the Honorable Chair has indicated, it is good we encourage the accounting officers to be responding to these management letters as early as possible, and also extensively respond to them, and also comprehensively. And sometimes, even if when it comes to the exit meetings, it is good to explain to these issues, and that way it will be very easy for the counties to get unqualified opinions. Honorable Speaker, as we blame the accounting officers, we want to also blame the National Treasury. The good thing is I have seen the new cabinet secretary in charge of Treasury. In UK, they call it Imora, the Chancellor of Exchequer. CS Buddy is doing a very good job. Even so, I was surprised. The 47 counties have employees who sit in COB every day and at the expense of the county. Because when you go to Nairobi, you attract allowances. So it means the county is spending too much money to get these funds approved by the COB. Honorable Speaker, the drafters of the Constitution did not want to have this kind of slavery, Honorable Speaker. We will not agree to that. And that's why I even listened to my friend Honorable Mutunga from Emali, the vice chair for this committee, saying that they have those issues. Honorable Speaker, those issues should not be tolerated. It should not be tolerated. Like, these counties are working at the mercy of some people in Nairobi. It is very unfortunate. Sometimes we are not able to pay our staff, Honorable Speaker. It is very unfortunate. We want to see if they really mean well for county governments. Let the county governments do what is expected of them, Honorable Speaker. Like, I am also very happy, at least the Auditor General is listening. Because before they were doing the cash basis audit, Honorable Speaker. Now they are looking at the accrual-based audit, Honorable Speaker, and which is a better thing. But it tells you something that we will lag even more, because even in the transition of these financial years, it will be very easy. Like, you don't need to be pressed to give. That is, the National Treasury will not be pressed by the counties to give the monies, because even if the money comes in December, you will still be able to do your audits, and there will be no audit queries to that effect, Honorable Speaker, which is also a bit tricky for everybody, Honorable Speaker, because we will have backlogs of these audits happening and nothing is coming out of that. Honorable Speaker, when you delay these funds, I even saw the CS Mbadi, Honorable Mbadi, said, when you delay these funds, you are delaying the economic progress of this country. So it is a very tricky situation. And if we go on like this, Honorable Speaker, we will really lose these counties. And we have seen that happen, Honorable Speaker. So it is the high time the Council of Governors is also listened to. But also, as I also want to support the Council of Governors, those people are very selfish. They don't even look at the county assemblies. They don't care. They have a huge chairman, a huge chairperson. I saw yesterday they did elections, Honorable Speaker. But those Council of Governor activities are only geared towards making a comfort to the governors, Honorable Speaker, and to some extent some executives, Honorable Speaker. So the county assemblies are not anywhere to be seen. Honorable Speaker, it is good also we benchmark with the first world. And I'm a good student of history. If we want to do better in terms of legislation at the counties, we need to look at who are these forefathers in that aspect, Honorable Speaker, and it's good we entrench that within our system. So, Honorable Speaker, this is a very tricky situation, because even if the minister is able to procure as early as possible, they will not be getting those monies to finance those activities. So it's a big problem for everybody, and I can tell you, we will not get unqualified opinion anytime soon, Honorable Speaker. We will not get that. In 2018, it happened because, one, the evaluation report was not out for the county of Makueni and the county of Nyandarua. So they had not updated those evaluation reports. So when they bring the evaluation reports now to show the difference, the depreciations, maybe, Honorable Speaker, with assets, Honorable Speaker, it tells a lot of questions, and that's why the preceding year may not be the same as the current year, Honorable Speaker. So it's good we look at these opinions, we help the people of Makueni and others, because this county is the county of promise. This is the county of benchmarking, Honorable Speaker. And you've seen that. Even the international partners are coming to Makueni, because here the money will not be lost. And that has been consistent with both Professor Kivuta Kibwana and also Mutula Kilonzo Jr. I want to give them a big nod, because they are really doing what people expect them to. But at some point, Honorable Speaker, the people under the governor are the people who are bringing these issues. So if an accounting officer is not able to respond to these matters, the management letters, and even to respond, to send those reports before 30th of September, Honorable Speaker, it will not be business as usual. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I can see the mover of the motion wants to leave, because he's a striker for the Assembly football team. He's a big striker. He's like Haaland of Man City or Kai Havertz of Arsenal. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I wish members to give a big yes.
Mover of the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank members for their support, as I request them to support when the question is put. Also, Mr. Speaker, I want also to thank the committee on that report, because, Mr. Speaker, these issues we are talking of, CEOs not willing to provide information during the audit report. The same issues when we raise statements, when we request for information from the other side, they are not willing to bring information on time. So if they can improve on that one, so that they can have information all the time during audit, even as we love easy time when we request for that information. Also, what my good friend has said, the transfer from cash basis to accrued basis. Mr. Speaker, you find that in cash basis, you recognize revenue when money exchange earns, and expenses when it is paid. But accrued basis, when revenue will be recognized when it is earned, and expenses when they are billed. So I think it's a good system if counties can move to that one. So I urge members to support. Thank you.
Honorable members, I put the question that these are similar to the report of the committee, that is Public Accounts Committee, on the consideration of the report of the Auditor General, the County Executive Makweni, for the year ended 30th June 2022, laid on the table of the Assembly on 23rd of September 2024. Will as many as of their opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, the resolution of the County Assembly on the report of the Auditor General for the year ended 30th of June 2022 to be conveyed to the Governor, the County Executive Committee members, and all the chief officers. Now, Chairperson Committee Public Investment, you have noted that in the previous proceeding of the Senate, you witnessed Senate execute reports of the Auditor General which the County Assembly had not considered. I had earlier indicated to you that you'll find yourself in this situation. And you also find that the Public Accounts Committee at the National Assembly is able to consider 3 financial years' reports in one sitting with the Governor. When you are still doing one report and you want to do a report writing for one report. So you must devise mechanisms of doing better than the Senate. Because then, is it useful for you to attend the Senate committee sittings and then follow the proceedings between executive? You know, chorus is where you have to repeat it after first stanza, you sing the same chorus. Second stanza, you sing. So this recommendation will persistently, it's going to be here because it's a good chorus. So the accounting officers should, next time they should provide document. The Public Finance and Management Act, if you read it, it tells you if you don't provide the documents as required, what are the sanctions? And then then the executive committee members stand to be warned by this recommendation and the subsequent count, then we shall invoke provisions of A, B, C, D. Because when you tell us the ECM did not produce documents, that is why you have no unqualified report. So you also join the executive in confirming that, yes, I have confirmed they did not produce. So what? I mean, it's a lot of English and paper, which is not useful. So reduce the paperwork and now enforce regulations. If I were you, I would then pick all these again recommendations and find out, as a matter of fact, the executive committee member to explain circumstances under which they did not comply with Section 100 of the Public Finance Management Act by providing documents, and it is provided in the PFM Act. Chairperson. So I think you have enough of choruses. Please find a way of now doing a better chorus, not a chorus. I mean, I am not demeaning your work. You have some good work, but so what? Even if we take it to Executive Committee of Finance, so what? Nothing. They will use this paper to do jugu. You'll find it in town. Correct. Thank you, little minority. You shall be a majority leader one time. at the National Assembly that I know. Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We hear you, and we hear you well. On the first issue that you had said about borrowing from the Senate to tackle several reports at the same time, this is what we've adopted of late. You must realize that we are pushing a lot of business. Like when we went for report writing recently, last weekend, we did for 2 years for Sand Authority. We did 6 for Tethaka. And that's why you notice that of late we are bringing an omnibus report of several years. And even this year, we have done quite some business. The table office will allude or will confirm that the 2023 report has been lying in the clerk's office for the last 1 week or so. And we have been anticipating to dispense it, but it hasn't been slotted in the order paper. We expect it to come the earliest time possible, probably tomorrow afternoon or the other day. And then if it's about biting, you realize that the teeth are beginning to grow. So, I mean, we are coming from somewhere and we're going somewhere, and we will prove ourselves in due course.
So in African context, when teeth are growing slowly, you use some soda. Quote, in Gamba is called the ati. So let me help you apply some on your teeth so that they can shoot. Or that plant called as at whatever. But I refer you to section 196. It is enforcement of PFM. 1, a public officer shall not spend public money otherwise than authorized by the Constitution. Public officer shall not raise revenue other than. Public officer shall not enter into obligation of financial obligations on national or county government unless obligation authorized by the Constitution. A public officer shall not borrow money. A public officer shall not direct another public officer to do an act constitution convention. A public officer who contravenes this section commits an offense and in conviction of liable of term of imprisonment not exceeding 2 years or fine not exceeding 1 million or both. Where a national government or county government entity engages in an action proper. Then there are offenses of financial misconduct. First one is offenses by public officers. Offenses by financial, then the public officer employed by national or county government commits an offensive conduct with lawful authority, issues public government securities, opens bank's account, lends money. Now, let me give you a recommendation as to why officers are not providing information. Offenses by public officers. A public officer commits an offense if that officer conceals information on public finances to obtain financial benefit or either otherwise. So when someone doesn't produce documents, they have already committed an offense. So why are you spending money on an offense and you are not correcting anything? It's like going to the court and the magistrate and then someone just says, we have realized that you stole. Nevertheless, we recommend that in future don't steal. That's what you're telling us. In future, don't steal again. Go home. Pray about it so that you don't steal again. Or the judge asks you, can you kneel down? We pray so that you are saved. You don't steal tomorrow. Amen. Honorable members, next order. What is it, Honorable Tivo?
Mr. Speaker, I've heard you what you have said, but when I said members to go through this report, the teeth are very strong. When you go to page 15 on the committee's recommendation, the committee recommends that the accounting officer should strictly adhere to the regulation, that one. Failure to which disciplinary action would be instituted as provided under section that one. That is biting.
This recommendation has been there for the last 5 reports. So when you repeat a paragraph, every time it becomes a chorus. If you look at the in-book, it has a first stanza, a chorus. You go to second stanza, you go back to the same chorus. So that's why I'm calling it a chorus. This recommendation, failure to which, failure to which this recommendation would have been, the executive committee member accounting officer did not adhere to Public Finance Management Act Regulation 15, and therefore the assembly prefers that the action be, or is recommending action be taken against this officer, which is provided here. Chairperson. It is provided that penalties and offenses, except otherwise provided by this act, a person who is found guilty of committing an offense under this act, for which no other punishment is given, that person liable to conviction of term of imprisonment not exceeding 5 years, to a fine not exceeding millions. So the letter should have been, you write a letter to the chief officer to explain circumstances under which this committee cannot invoke provisions of section 199. That is an action now. Then you should be telling us the executive committee member apologized and committed not to repeat. It is not your responsibility to tell them that you should not repeat. It is them to apologize. So in your inquiry, you should have asked them in writing why the committee cannot make recommendations in line with section 199 to find them guilty and recommend DPP to prosecute. You know, that way they will say, we have taken note of that, and being the first count, we will not repeat it, and that matter is rested. Next time, no document will be left behind. The document will be produced. Now that's biting. But what you are saying is a repeat of a chorus. You can't copy-paste an act and just paste. Laws are for enforcement. Laws are not for reprinting. What you have done, you have reprinted. So you are wasting a lot of paper to print what is on website. So you have become a government printer to print laws. Don't print laws here. Enforce the law. Honorable Elizabeth.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm a member of this committee, but Mr. Speaker, I would like to urge the chairperson. A committee is as good as its chair, and there's a reason that the chair is from the minority side. I will encourage him to bite without fear, and we shall support him as members. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Carefully, members of the committee have started to exonerate themselves. Member from Lalemali, Vice Chair. The committee is as good as Chair or Vice.
Honorable Speaker, I want first to congratulate you. At times you correct members. And I want to echo what she has said. A committee is as good as the chair. That's why the committee is the best in this house, because we have the best chair. Actually, the committees having so many reports within a short time, with a budget, with another same as of a committee that has only 2 reports. Honorable Speaker, this committee is doing fairly well. Actually, this is what I wanted to say, Honorable Speaker. That committee requires a special budget. The work is too much. And I am not seeing any member of the budget committee here, but I can see the chair environment nodding, accepting those sentiments. Therefore, we have heard you, Honorable Speaker. There was a chief by the name Kaunda from my place. He used to attend a meeting. When there is not well attended, he could whip those who attended the meeting to go over those. So I am sure you are not like that, chief, but we have heard you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Vice Chair, I will come to your point, or I know you don't want the debate to continue on that matter, but much as I commend the performance of the Public Accounts Committee, I may have a little interest with that committee that is giving us 2 reports in a financial year. Why should I spend my energy? But I'm spending my energy and reading the law for a committee that is qualifying with a C+ or a B+ to an A. I mean, that would be more important to me. So I'm not against the committee, but I feel that we can do better. And when you bite at that level, quoting the laws as they are, you will then influence every department, procurement, and others, and you will get the unqualified report you are referring to. If you want to know why we got a unqualified report, the last time we had reports of that caliber, the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee, that time, when Honorable Mutindi was firing, was the clerk of the County Assembly. He was a MCA. And that is how every executive committee member had to produce their documents, and they accounted for every shillings, and the Auditor General found that Makueni had unqualified. Unless you take the same route, then you will live to question, was that a clean audit report or it wasn't? But I've given you the leeway. Go ahead.
I want to remind this House of my submission on this report a while ago. An opinion is given only on the financial bit, the financial statement. I had said those times when we got a clean report, funds were coming on time. There was no county that was crossing the year without the release of the last financial year's budget. This year, this time, in this era of this government, there is not a single year when we are crossing the year with the entire payment of the budget having been released. So we are getting to June 30th when we have like 2 or 1 month's disbursement. And it's coming probably even after the closure of the financial year, and they are opening the systems for payment. And when the auditor comes, he picks that as an audit query, where we look at a clean report in that circumstance. So, like you look at this report, if that thing had been looked into, probably they would have gotten a clean report, because the other issues that are being mentioned in this report are not on the first element of this report, that is on the financial. So, Honorable Speaker, however much we do, there are some constraints that will make this entity always get a qualified opinion.
Honorable Chair, every county government, including National Treasury, is affected by that factor, which is an external factor. An Auditor General may go to an extent of taking note of that, and then give you unqualified, or say that notwithstanding that, the rest is okay. So forget about the international factors, and forget about the economic factors which are affecting the exchequer release and IFMIS. You have so much impressed and surrendered. So how did you get to impressed balancing and reconciliation? Don't bother about that, even the Senate knows. I'm just asking you that you wind up and you clean up the small things that we have. The rest will be sorted at a different level. Yeah, but you are good. Yes, you are good, you can be better, you can be best, you can be excellent. So please try to move from good to better. Fair enough. They should bite, and I think Committee on Water should copy. And so is finance. And powers and privileges. Yes, honorable members. What is it, Kaskeo?
Debating, Mr. Speaker, can see that we have been hit by quorum each.
We were not debating.
Yeah.
I was giving directions, which may not be affected by quorum, because I realized that some members of your party have decided to step out, and members of WIPA decided not to step in. So it's very balanced. Some are stepping out, others have refused to step in. Some members. Sergeant at Arms, ring the bell for quorum.